Hi,
Hi.
today you will be learning about the law of cosine.
The law of cosine states that for any triangle ABC, where A, the lowercase a, b, and c are the sides and the capital are the letters, then there are three equations. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. B squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine B, and c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine C. So they're all here.
The law of cosines can be used to solve a triangle. So now we'll do an example. So when solving triangle ABC, where side A equals 11 and side B equals 5 and angle C equals 20 degrees, you have to find C. So you would use c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of c. So we'll write that. So then we substitute all of the information that we were given into that equation. So it would be c squared equals 11 squared, since that's the side A, plus 5 squared, minus 2 times 11 times 5 times the cosine of 20 degrees. So you just take the information given and substitute that for the value it's equal to in the equation. Then you're going to solve. So you're going to do c equals the square root of 121, since that's 11 squared, plus 25, since that's 5 squared, minus just this, 2 times 11 times 5 times the cosine of 20 degrees. Then you'll just simplify what is in the square root. So it would be c equals the square root of 146, because you just added these numbers, minus 103.37. You just multiplied that. Then all of this together is c equals the square root of 42.63, which is equal to approximately 6.529. That's side C. So now we're going to put that value on our triangle. So that's how you solve for C. And we did the square root because that is squared. The C is squared. So now we will solve for angle A, where I put an X right here. So once again, you just substitute the values of the triangle into the equation like before, but now we're using the equation a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of a, since we're solving for a. So we substitute the values like we did before. So it's 11 squared equals 5 squared plus 6.5 squared minus 2 times 5 times 6.5 times the cosine of a. Then you're just going to simplify all of this right here, and you're going to make it set the equation so you're solving for the cosine of a, so you're going to move this to this side and that over there. So you do that, it would be the cosine of a equals 5 squared plus 6.5 squared minus 11 squared, because you moved that over here. And that's going to be over 2 times 5 times 6.5, because that's all right here, which you're multiplying that by the cosine of A. Then A equals the cosine like this, because you're solving for A, times 25, since that's 5 squared, plus 6.5 squared, minus 121, since that's 11 squared, over 10 times 6.5. And then you just solve that in your calculator, and you get A is equal to approximately 144.8 degrees. So that now we'll add that value to our triangle. So 144.8 degrees. Okay, now we'll erase. Now the last thing that we have to solve for in this triangle is angle B right here. So we're just going to do B equals 180 degrees minus A minus C. And we don't need to use the law of cosines for this, since we already have these two angle measures and all the angles add up to 180, so we just add these and subtract it from 180 to get what B equals. So we'll do B equals 180 degrees minus 144.8, which is angle A, minus 20. So that equals 15.2. So that is our last angle, and the last thing we have to solve for the triangle. So I'll just add that to here. So that is the completed triangle after we solved everything.
The last example showed how to solve when you have two sides and an angle, but you can also use law of cosines to find all the angles when you're given all the sides. So for triangle ABC, where A equals 9, B equals 7, and C equals 5, then for angle A, then you could write, then you would use A squared equals squared plus C squared minus 2 BC cosine A, and so that 9 squared equals 7 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 7 times 5 times cosine of A. So solve for cosine of A, so you would get that equals 9 squared minus 7 squared minus 5 squared divided by negative 2 times 7 times 5. And then you can put that into the calculator for like the negative, yes, the inverse cosine. So, or cosine negative 1 and of 9 squared minus 7 squared minus 5 squared over the negative 2 times 7 times 5. I wrote it differently than the notes, but I don't want to fix it again, so yeah, it still would make the same number, I think. Okay, so then that is about 95.7 degrees. So we can write over here that A is 95.7. Okay, so then for angle B, then use B squared cosine B, well, first you need to plug in the numbers, so you would have that 7 squared equals 9 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 9 times 5 cosine B. So then you solve that for cosine B, and you would have that equals 7 squared minus 9 squared minus 5 squared over negative 2 times 9 times 5. And then you put that in the calculator for like the inverse cosine, or like cosine negative 1. And you would get about 50.7 degrees. So, that angle B is 50.7.
So you don't only need to use the law of cosines to solve a whole triangle. If you just want to find one side or angle, you can also use it to find one part of a triangle. So if you're given a triangle where side A equals 23.6, where B equals 8.2, and where angle C equals 60 degrees, then you can just find side C. So so C equals X. So you would use the formula C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of C. So like before, you just plug in the numbers that we were given. So the C equals 23.6 squared plus 8.2 squared minus, and this is C squared, minus 2 times 23.6 times 8.2 times the cosine of 60. So you plug in all the numbers, then you just plug all of that into your calculator, so you get C squared equals 430.6, and then you just square each side. So C equals approximately 20.8. So now we write C equals 20.8 over here, and we solve for side C. So that's the law of cosines, and we hope that you learned a lot. Bye!